couple of days and I've started working on the playful dolphin intarsia. And I've got some stuff cut out a little bit, and I got some stuff glued up to getting ready to cut out. And I just wanted to do a quick, hopefully quick update on where I'm at. And in the first part of this video series, I showed you the plans that I'd had for a while. And I couldn't remember the artist's name. And I finally went out and found the book that I got the plans out of, which is the Big Book of Scroll Saw Woodworking. And the artist's name is Rick Gillespie. And this is what this should look like, sort of, when I get done. So it won't look like that, but it'll look similar to that. Well, I gotta let the dog out. Wait a minute. Sorry, I'm back. Dog's out. Anyway, I was just going to give you an update of where I'm at and kind of how I have operated this time. Every time I do a new intarsia, I try something a little bit different, or I seem to learn a little something that I never learned before. So let me change the camera out and let me focus it on the table and we'll go from there, okay? Thanks. Okay, so here's where I'm currently at. I've cut out a few of the parts, or pieces, I guess is what you really should call, and I left the pattern still on them at this point, so the numbers are on top. I call this the gross cuts because I don't actually go in and cut the flowers apart or that kind of stuff. I just cut out the main object. And then I'll cut these out later when I get ready to start sanding. That way I can see if I need to change the cut on any of these things. So some of them are cut out. Some of them are just glued up to cut on some of the woods like this. And what I do is I take different thicknesses of plywood. And as I go through, I try to figure out how much variation in depth I want in some of these things, and I glue to the back of the wood before I do the cutting. That way the back and the object itself has even sides on it, and it seems to work better that way for me. Now I haven't always done it that way. I would go ahead and cut this out, and then I would take little pieces of plywood or whatever, scrap wood, and then I would glue it on the back of them as I saw fit. And that made it a little wiggly and wobbly, and I don't know. So the last couple I've tried it like this, and it seems to work out pretty well for me. And then here's how I would glue it up. Just you know how to glue it up things, but I just thought I would show you one that was glued up. And I'll trim this down a little bit to make it a little bit easier for me to scroll saw on, trim this off, that kind of thing. So that's kind of where I'm at. So far I'm using, I try to keep track of the woods that I'm using. I'll forget at some point. Lacewood, mahogany, purple heart, yellow heart, padauk, walnut. Then I have two that I'm not quite sure what they are. This one, which I know looks probably like poplar, and maybe I'll just list it as poplar, but I'm not sure that it is poplar because the size of the board I bought is odd. This poplar is pretty common around here, so I would normally buy wider boards and maybe not necessarily long, because this was like 8 to 10 feet long and only this wide, and that's not something I would usually do. So, but anyway, there it is. I got it at Rockler, so I'm not quite sure what it is, but it must have been a good price, whatever. And then there's this one that I'm just now gluing up, and I can't really show you very well, but it's a reddish looking wood, very straight grained, and it came in a box of samples and odds and ends that I bought, but it's a nice pretty red, and I thought that would go good in here, so I don't know what that is either. And like I said, on the plywood, I'll get different sizes and glue them on the back. And for the Dolphins, which are supposed to really stand out, I've taken like a 1/4 inch and a 1/8 inch. I stuck it together so it's way taller than everything else. Maybe it'll stand out. So that's kind of where I'm at currently. And either later on in this video or the next video, I'm not gonna do any more until I get the rest of these cut out at least, and I'll work on the Dolphin. I don't know if I'll have the Dolphin cut out, but anyway, that's my process. The only thing I really kind of learned this time, or think I've learned, is when I do the cutting, always before, I guess you can see that, always before, I never quite understood where exactly the blade should ride on these lines. These are thin lines and the blade's thin, so I usually try to stay in the middle. Now I've watched a lot of YouTube videos, not a lot, but several YouTube videos which say stay to the outside of the line. Now I'm thinking, okay, that makes a lot of sense, because the kerf of the blade takes out obviously the wood. So if you stay to the outside of the line, this is all waste in here. So if you stay to the outside of the line, you're saving as much of the wood on the part that you want as you can, and cutting away just on the excess. But you got to be on the outside of the line, not off the line, if that makes any sense. So I think what they're saying is, if you stay outside of the line, you're eliminating or reducing the problem you have with the kerf loss, wood loss due to kerf. So that's the theory I'm going to. So I am in this one. It's the first time I've dawned on me that, yeah, maybe that's what it is. So I am trying to stay out there now. I'll see if that makes any difference. Probably not, because I'm still wiggling around on it, so we'll see. These seem to be fitting pretty well. If you look at these are two different woods, and it's fitting in there reasonably tight. And I don't know how to get them any tighter than that because of the double kerf. We'll see. Anyway, so far I'm okay with it. So that's it for this one, I think, and see you next time.